City. This is Shantae.
And this is Letitia.
And welcome to our 6th episode.
Today we're going to talk about making U-turns in past relationships. Do you think that you should? Do you think that's something that you should do? What you think?
I couldn't do it. We're not in a relationship for a reason.
Totally agree. I think people just get a little comfortable with who they were with, so they feel like they want to go back to their comfort. So they just keep going back to the same old problems, same old things, and just deal with it. But really, if it ended, it's probably for a reason, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I would say basically, if you're not with that person, obviously it is for a reason. I also feel like, time apart allows for self-reflection, to really get, in tune into yourself and just reflect on things, why the relationship ended up the way that it was, Sometimes, when you do have time apart, you get to think, you get to, learn yourself, work on yourself, to be a better person, to be a better partner. So, sometimes I believe that, people do make U-turns, in their past relationship, especially if it was a long-term relationship. If you feel as though that you've healed in certain parts and you're leaving the past where it is, and it's about moving forward and working on yourself and y'all as a couple, sometimes going back could be a good thing. But on the other flip side, if the relationship was just toxic from the beginning, I mean, some people have thrills off of that, but if the relationship was a toxic relationship, some people may go back because that's what they're used to. So.
Well, I feel like when people break up and they come out of that toxic relationship, they should give themselves time to grow and give themselves time to be by themselves, so they can, like you said, learn themselves and figure out what they really want, to see what kind of partner they really need for their personality. Because when you break up, it don't necessarily have to be the other person that was the problem. It could be you. So sometimes you just need to work on yourself and try to figure out what you can do better for yourself to be better for the next person. Me personally, going back to an ex is a waste of time. It's worked for some people where they went back to a relationship and it worked, but I mean, for the most part, I feel like they don't work. It's the same thing. It might start off good, but you're going to end up the same exact way that you ended the first time.
Also, too, I do feel getting back out into the world of dating and getting to a different relationship, sometimes, you got to relearn this person, that person may have a baggage with them, or, you really don't really know a person until you really live with them. So literally
That's
starting
true.
all over again, dealing with some of the same things is like, why not? I might as well go back to who I know, because it's, for me, I feel like, it's scary out here. You don't know who's who, what they into, and
That is the representative.
just the fear.
As the representative,
Yeah.
everybody has the representative, the way they want you to think they are, and then you really find out who they are eventually. So yeah.
And then now you're
I get
back
that
at
part.
square A,
And
so.
and then it's the trust issues too. Like if you broke up with someone because they cheated, or not even necessarily cheating, they could have been a liar, they could have lied about something, whatever the case is. It's hard to get that trust back.
Yeah.
Like once you stop trusting someone, it's really, really hard to be like, I trust this person again. Like you. So.
And and to piggyback on the cheating thing, everybody is human. People do make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And you literally have to be mentally strong and, emotionally strong to go back to your ex if it has something to do with cheating. You know, I believe people can change, you know, over time, you know. Yeah, just depending on.
Yeah. I mean, I think to like it's just basically like if you decide to go back, it's just it might work, it might not, but I just don't got it in me
Yeah.
to go back. But I mean, but I'm not telling nobody not to do it. It's just.
But I feel like when you really love a person, you really care about this person, you trust this person in other things, that if that person is willing to work on themselves and, you know, apologetic and wanting to make it right and showing the actions that they are apologetic to hurting you, you know, I believe that it can work. It, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it can work.
Yeah. So you know, I would say if you decide to make that U-turn, you know, to your past ex, I would say definitely keep people out of your business. You know, because that also plays a factor. You know, of your decision making. You know, telling your friends, telling your parents, telling your siblings, telling whoever, because everybody has their own opinion about what they think you should or shouldn't do. You know, I feel like people should literally stay in their own lane, focus on their own self, their own relationships. That right there plays a part. I would just say, you know, keep y'all situation private, because at the end of the day, yeah, y'all may be at odds, not together, but now the next day y'all holding hands and people looking at you like you crazy. Keep people out of your business. That is the main thing.
I completely agree. I feel like when you put them in it and then you end up going back with the person, it's like they automatically don't like that person.
It's a lot of judging.
There's a lot of judging.
Yeah.
So what happens is if you tell someone about someone that you're in a relationship with, and they come try to fight them or whatever the case, and then you go back to them. So you put them in a position to fight or to get hurt, but you're going back to the person. So that's just a reason just to keep everybody out of whatever you're going through, and just handle it yourself. Because I mean, once you get there, then you can't go back. People are going to have the same feelings. They're not going to start liking them again. Yeah. Like once they know what they know, that's it.
And they will try to like them and put on a front that they do like them, but you have to smirk here and there or saying little smart remarks. You don't need that.
Yep.
You don't need that in the energy.
Keep it. She's absolutely right. Keep it to yourself. Keep everybody out your business.
Yeah. Okay. Because I look at it too, like, you know, some people say, nah, you know, that couldn't be me, but you know, some people, you know, want to try to work on it. You know, because like I said, you put God first. God is number one, and then, like I said, the love and the care that you have for you know, your ex-partner. You know.
Yeah, I was the queen of saying what I wouldn't do, but I always say now you don't know what you'll do until you're put in that situation.
Absolutely.
You really don't, because I'm telling you, I was the queen. If I wouldn't do that, listen, bypass it all.
Don't say never.
Bypass it all. Never say never. You never know.
I would say also the power of forgiveness, both self and others. Forgiveness doesn't just apply to others. Sometimes it's about forgiving yourself, okay? And the mistakes or regrets that linger from the past relationship. So like I said, it turns to going back to self-reflection, okay? Just, you know, thinking about how did certain situations get there, because there's always a root to the issue. So get to that root. Get to the root and literally try to figure out how did it get to that place. You know, so, and you know, you have to, if you want it to work, you have to forgive. You have to forgive. You know, that is definitely a healing process. So,
And I think people go into it with the mindset of forgiving or to get past it, but you know, a lot of things researches. It's just it only have to be one trigger, and people will go back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing. If you go back to a relationship, you can't keep bringing the stuff up that y'all broke up for. If you're trying to work it out, you can bring up old stuff. That's just the bottom line. You can, or it's never going to work.
Yeah.
You either gotta get over it or just move on.
Yeah. I do, you know, people do get back into relationships and bring up the past. It's like, that's toxic. That's what I said previous. You know, some people love the toxicity, you know, because that's something that they're accustomed to. But if you're literally trying to be mature about it, you know, move forward, you have to leave the past where it is. You can't keep bringing up a person's fault. And for me, I know I don't believe in bringing up, you know, people's faults.
You can't.
No one is perfect.
You can't.
No one is perfect.
Yeah.
Everybody got stuff with them, you know. So to literally judge and
Not if
you
you're
know,
going back to the person. Like it's one thing to have been in a relationship, but if you went back to the person, you gotta get over whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or just don't go back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And definitely you're entitled to not
go
deal
back.
with it.
That's correct. You don't have
You
to
know?
go back.
Like, why would you put yourself in a space knowing that you're still not happy? You're still, you know, you still have resentment. Why put yourself through that? So just leave it alone.
Okay, so my final thought would be, ask yourself this question. Are you truly ready to commit in a long-term relationship, or are you simply seeking comfort or familiarity?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand why you're reconnecting, whether it's for closure, healing, or growth. So that's something to literally sit back and do some self-reflection on why you feel like you should make that U-turn going back to your ex.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please go follow our podcast page at Brown in the City Podcast on Instagram.
And our YouTube channel, Brown in the City.
Thank you. Good night.
Have a good night.